Fox News' Monica Crowley's previous obsession has been cancel culture, and now she says Russia is being canceled. Really? Really? She said that. She said, I mean, between the fierce Ukrainian resistance and the sanctions, Russia is being canceled. Wait, the Ukrainians shouldn't resist an invasion because that makes them part of cancel culture? But isn't their country what's getting canceled? You know, Justin Bieber once visited Anne Frank's attic in Amsterdam, and he wrote in the guest book, Anne was a great girl. Hopefully she would have been a believer. That's what you people sound like.
Bill Maher has done it again, and this time, his target isn't Hollywood or Washington, it's America itself, the country that can't go 5 minutes without turning the news into a reflection of its own emotions. Where outrage is a hobby, victimhood is currency, and every global event somehow becomes a selfie opportunity. Maher didn't just call out hypocrisy, he went for the jugular. He exposed the performance, the hashtags, the moral posturing, the endless noise pretending to be compassion, because when every tragedy becomes another excuse for attention, empathy isn't empathy anymore. It's marketing. This wasn't comedy, it was demolition. And Maher didn't come to entertain, he came to disinfect.
America in this age suffers acutely from a particular disease of the mind, which is everything proves what we already believed, and everything goes back to the thing we already hate. All issues today, pandemic, war, whatever, become a stress test for our reflexive partisanship. Can you take a vastly complex situation that is 100% not about your thing and somehow still make it about your thing? And our answer is, watch me.
Maher wasn't exaggerating, but he was diagnosing, because somewhere along the way, America stopped processing news and started performing it. A war, a protest, a tragedy, it doesn't matter. Within minutes, the internet turns it into a reflection of personal politics, personal pain, personal branding. We don't absorb information anymore. We audition for it, and Maher called it out perfectly. On one side, conservatives blame every disaster on the president. On the other, liberals insist it's somehow all about systemic bias. Different slogans, same script, and everyone's the main character. He mocked both tribes, the pundits who see ideology in everything, and the social warriors who treat outrage like a lifestyle accessory. Because in America, nothing can just be. It has to mean something about you. Maher's monologue was the cultural slap we didn't want but absolutely needed. He wasn't defending anyone, he was holding up a mirror to everyone, and the reflection wasn't pretty.
Americans will put anything new in our mouths and nothing new in our heads. So naturally, Republicans blamed Ukraine on Biden being the worst president ever, and Democrats blamed it on Trump's being the worst president ever. Which he was, there is that. But I'm not sure I can follow Biden's logic all the way when he dragged January 6th into this. He said, look, how would you feel if you saw crowds storm and break down the doors of the British Parliament, kill 5 cops, injure 145, or the German Bundestag or the Italian Parliament? I think you'd wonder.
That was the question that cut through the fog, and the spin doctors hated it. Maher didn't choose sides. He pulled the plug on logic itself. Because in today's America, reasoning isn't rewarded, outrage is. One president claims moral high ground while the other rewrites history in real time, and the crowd cheers both like it's professional wrestling. We've turned politics into a tag team match. Truth gets slammed through a folding table, and half the audience calls it patriotism. Maher's punchline wasn't about Biden or Trump. It was about the circus that keeps them both in business. A political industry addicted to noise, allergic to nuance. He reminded everyone that when your arguments come pre-packaged by your party, you're not thinking, you're subscribing. This is the part of the show where laughter turns nervous, because behind the jokes sits a country that no longer argues to solve anything, just to win something.
Now, one guy we know who's locked into one thought is Donald Trump, who, when asked what went wrong with Ukraine, said, well, what went wrong was a rigged election. Kanye thinks less about Pete Davidson than Trump thinks about the rigged election.
And there it was, the line that detonated across the internet. Maher said what everyone else was too tired and or too terrified to admit. Trump's greatest addiction isn't power, it's grievance. The man has turned victimhood into a full-time brand. He could be cutting a ribbon at a golf course and still manage to blame the lighting on the deep state. 4 years out of office, and he's still playing the world's longest rerun of The Election That Broke Me. Maher didn't just roast him, he dissected the cult of complaint surrounding him, the rallies that sound more like therapy sessions, the followers hooked on outrage like it's oxygen, and the media that can't quit feeding the monster it claims to hate. Because let's face it, Trump may be the headline, but the obsession isn't his alone. He's the mirror reflecting everyone's worst impulses back at them. The anger, the ego, the endless need to be right. America says it wants to move on, but deep down, it's addicted to the drama. And Trump? He's just giving the country exactly what it ordered. Another hit.
I know racism is bad, but other things are bad too. It's not like an avocado. You don't have to put it on everything.
That line. Pure Maher, sharp, funny, uncomfortable, because it's true. In modern America, every issue now comes with an identity label, even when it doesn't fit. Maher wasn't denying injustice. He was calling out the obsession with making everything a moral hierarchy, a place where people don't just want to be right, they want to be righteous. Politics isn't about solutions anymore. It's about signaling. Who can tweet the loudest, cry the hardest, look the most enlightened? It's a competition of virtue, and then everyone's keeping score. Maher wasn't mocking compassion, he was rescuing it from the people who turned it into a brand.
Fox News' Monica Crowley's previous obsession has been cancel culture, and now she says Russia is being canceled. Really? Really? She said that. She said, I mean, between the fierce Ukrainian resistance and the sanctions, Russia is being canceled. Wait, the Ukrainians shouldn't resist an invasion because that makes them part of cancel culture? But isn't their country what's getting canceled? You know, Justin Bieber once visited Anne Frank's attic in Amsterdam, and he wrote in the guest book, Anne was a great girl. Hopefully she would have been a believer. That's what you people sound like.
Only in America could cancel culture go international. Maher looked out at a nation that can't tell the difference between accountability and attention-seeking, and he saw it exporting that confusion to the rest of the planet. He mocked the right for treating consequences like persecution, and the left for turning every disagreement into a digital trial. It's the same script, just dubbed in a new language. We've reached a place where even wars get framed as social media drama. If sanctions happen, someone calls it canceling. But if nations defend themselves, someone else cries intolerance. The vocabulary of victimhood has gone global. Maher's punchline landed like a hammer. Not everything that happens to you is censorship. Sometimes it's just cause and effect. For Maher, this wasn't about left or right. It was about how America's favorite pastime, outrage, has gone worldwide. We've turned moral debate into an export industry, and the rest of the world didn't even order it.
Don't take this personally, but don't take everything personally. Ukraine is not mostly about your pet grievances. It's about Vladimir Putin's. And Putin is bad, very, very, very bad, but he's still better than the guy who brings every conversation around to Bitcoin.
That's Maher's genius. He can make you laugh and flinch in the same breath, because beneath the jokes lies the uncomfortable truth. America has turned self-awareness into a lost art. He wasn't defending one side or attacking the other. He was calling out everyone too busy trying to be the main character in a world on fire. When every argument starts with I feel and ends with I'm offended, nothing real ever gets solved. Maher's closing wasn't comedy. It was exhaustion. The exhaustion of a man watching a country confuse noise for progress. A nation where every tragedy becomes content, every disagreement becomes war, and every ounce of empathy is filtered through a front-facing camera. He reminded the audience, you can't fix what you refuse to understand, and you can't understand anything when your first question is always, how does this affect me? Bill Maher didn't just destroy woke hypocrisy, he exposed the addiction behind it, a culture so desperate to matter, it forgot how to listen. And that's the story of Bill Maher, The man who still dares to call America out when everyone else is too busy performing outrage to hear it. Week after week, he holds up the hypocrisy, not because he hates the country, but because he's one of the last left who actually cares enough to roast it. He's not red or blue, he's the color of honesty, and that shade's been out of style for a long time. So the next time the headlines scream and everyone rushes to claim their piece of the moral spotlight, remember what Maher said, not everything's about you. If you enjoyed the breakdown, hit that like button, subscribe for more fearless commentary, and I'll see you in the next video.